There's a very important transit that's about to happen on November 15th. And this transit is Saturn is going to be going direct finally in the sign of Aquarius. As many of you may recall, Saturn's been retrograde for the last over 4 months. And so when it's going direct, it's going to be bringing a lot of lessons and tests during this final phase of the Saturn transit. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at each one of the 12 signs. We're going to go over what this could represent for each of the 12 signs, whether that be your ascendant or your moon sign. So this should be quite exciting. So make sure you stick around to see the rest of this video. For those of you that are new to my channel, make sure you like and subscribe. By the way, I practice Vedic sidereal astrology. You may notice that the chart I use is a square South Indian chart. And your sign may be different using this method. If you're interested in a private reading, check down below for details. I do live Zoom readings with people, and then I also do recorded readings if you email me. And just as a reminder, this astrology reading or this astrology horoscope is for entertainment purposes only. So, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to be talking about some of the dates involved with this transit because this is the final leg of the Saturn transit. Saturn typically transits for about 2.3 years in each sign. So, it's in the last 4 month phase of its transit with it going direct on November 15th. So let's go focus on some of the dates. And also we're going to talk about kind of what that means in a general sense. And then we're going to go through each one of the 12 signs. So those of you that have been watching my channel or watching other Vedic astrology channels, well, actually all channels, because, Saturn transit is going direct is affecting any type of astrology. But Saturn has been retrograde since June 29th. It's going direct on, I put November 14th. It's actually November 15th, just to make a correction on that slide. So one day after. Oops, I do say it. Saturn is finally going direct on November 15th. This is going to be the final leg of the transit through Aquarius for the next 4.5 months. So what you can expect is that there's going to be the final lessons associated with that house that it's transiting according to your sign and your moon. So this is going to bring up a lot of events. That's why, we've already had this really intense election, for example, in the USA. It's bringing up a lot of these kind of heavy karmic events. And you'll notice that a lot of times there's major changes that happen right before Saturn's going to change signs and right after Saturn's going to change signs. So expect that there's going to be tests, but also expect that if you've had any stagnant long-term issues, that they may come to a resolution during this time. So this is actually kind of exciting too, because there might have been some stagnant energy about something in your life, about the houses that we're going to be talking about. And this is going to bring some sort of resolution. We're going to review some of the lessons and themes for each sign that are going to be either test or even being brought to resolution. I'm also going to be including in the last bullet point in these horoscopes, there's whatever sign and house is eighth house. If you count 8 houses from Saturn, we're going to be looking at what does that aspect, because it transforms not only the house it's in, but the house that's 8 houses from Saturn. So we have to keep that in consideration. I'm going to bring up the chart just to show you all really quickly here what's going on with Saturn. So Saturn's in the natural 11th house of Aquarius. Over here. Okay, this is the natural 11th house. And it was going retrograde for the last 4 months, and now it's finally going to be going direct. So it's changing directions, okay? And then it's only got 4.5 months until it goes into the next sign of Pisces here. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, Saturn's in the sign for 2.3 years. So there's it's a long transit. It takes a lot for, this transit to have an effect. Now, the other thing I'm including in this horoscope, each horoscope is going to be what house exists, 8 houses from it. Okay. So that's going to be the sign of Virgo, but it's going to be a different house for each ascendant. So This house, that's 8 houses from Saturn, this house faces some sort of transformation. So not only is it transforming the house it's in, but it's also transforming with that eighth house angle, the house that lies 8 houses from it. So I'm also including that so you can get a little bit bigger of a picture of what's going on in your horoscope. So let's go ahead and dive right into the horoscopes here. So if you are Aries moon or Aries ascendant, this reading is going to be for you. Aries, Saturn is currently transiting your 11th house, but it's aspecting with its eighth aspect, the sixth house. So there's going to be issues with 11th house and sixth house. You may have noticed that there's been a focus on long-term goals, finances, kind of getting your finances increased. You might have faced a lot of obstacles with networking. You may even had to transform some of your friendships. You may have had to, drop some friends maybe that are not at the current vibrational level that you are, but also there may have been new connections formed during this time as well, because Saturn was really testing those friendships. There's been some challenges with earning. Maybe if you have a business, there could have been some challenges there, but Saturn is kind of like putting you through the school of hard knocks. So by the end of this transit in the next 4.5 months, you're going to actually have a more stable and consistent way of earning money. Your friends are going to be a solid group of friends after this transit. So everything's been tested. Now that sixth house that's being transformed, you may have noticed that during the duration of this transit and in the next 4 months that there's a transformation in your health, your daily routines. During the last couple of years, you may have had some a focus on your health. There might have been something going on where you realized you had to change some of your routines. So good luck, Aries, with some of these challenges, but also I feel like your 11th house, the way you're earning money, the way your friendships are going, it's going to be stronger at the end of this transit in March. If you are Taurus ascendant or Taurus moon, this reading is going to be for you. Taurus, Saturn is currently transiting your 10th house. So there's a really big focus on your career and the trajectory of that career, but it also is transforming the 5th house with its 8th house aspect. So, for example, during the last couple of years, you may have been facing a lot of career pressure. For example, your work may have been giving you a lot more responsibility, and maybe not quite the pay that you want to get. So that's something you've been working on. Maybe you've been overworked in your jobs. There's a lot of like pressure from your workplace. But this 10th house, what it's designed to do is at the end of this transit and over the next 4.5 months, maybe that promotion you've been waiting on, you're finally going to get it. You finally earned it, or the company finally has the resources to do it. So there may have been some delays, but it's going to come to a head here in the next 4 months. Now, the transformation of your 5th house, the 5th house has a couple of different meanings, Taurus. So, for example, if you have children, there could have been some issues that you've been dealing with children, with maybe changing some of the school programs they're in or things like that. Or maybe your just relationship with your children has been going through a transformation. 5th house, if you're single and you're interested in dating, there could have been a change in how your romantic relationships are going. And also, there could have been a transformation in what you do and seek creatively, since the 5th house represents artists, and creativity, authors, and things like that. So, Taurus, this should be good. By the end of this transit in March, your career should actually be in a better place through everything that's happening. So, good luck to you, Taurus. If you are Gemini ascendant or Gemini moon, this reading is going to be for you. Gemini, Saturn is currently transiting your 9th house. And the 8th aspect of Saturn is transforming the 4th house. So we're focusing on both of those houses. The 4th house or the 9th house has to do with your spiritual growth. It also could, for example, represent your father figures. So you may have had some challenges over the last couple of years with your father needing help in some way. There could have been a reevaluation of your personal beliefs and philosophies during this time. Maybe you've been realizing some of the things you've been taught or you believed in the past that they're not really aligned with your current reality. So you've been working on changing those. Saturn's been kind of, taking you to task on those. You may have actually gotten having difficulty finding the right teacher during this time. But again, because of all the diligence that Saturn's making you take, by the end of this transit, the next 4 months, you could have a really good teacher or school that you're going to. We're going to be learning some really good knowledge, okay, and wisdom. There's also a transformation in the fourth house. The fourth house has to do with like real estate, home ownership, mother figures. So, for example, during this last couple of years, there may have been some difficulties with like your home, finding a residence, your emotional foundations. And so Saturn's been putting those through a transformation. So by the end of this next 4.5 months, there should be largely a better situation coming out of that, either a housing situation, family environment, emotional situation, and even your mother figures. This is a transit that's affecting both the ninth and fourth houses, your parents in general. There should be some improvement by the end of this transit. So good luck to you, Gemini. If you are Cancer ascendant or Cancer moon, this reading is going to be for you. A Cancer, Saturn is currently transiting the eighth house, which can kind of be a difficult transit. And the eighth aspect is transforming the third house in your astrology chart. Let's talk about the eighth house, some of the challenge you may have been facing. So if you're married, you may have been having some issues with in-laws, for example. They may be requiring more care or more attention than normal. So it could be a strain on the relationships. There also could be a emphasis on shared finances if you're married. Inheritances, if there's been an inheritance or an insurance payout, it might have been some sort of hang up or delay regarding that over the last couple of years. And that's being brought to a resolution in the next 4.5 months. Now, eighth house also is health issues and health matters. So there may be, special attention you've been having to pay to your health, and you may have had to make some changes there. There's also a deep internal transformation with what the eighth house represents, where you may have been letting go, going through a lot of healing, doing a lot of shadow work, just releasing a lot of outdated beliefs, outdated stories, outdated, things from the past, and really transforming yourself. You're going to be in a lot better place. You're going to feel a lot lighter at the end of this 4.5 months in March. Now, you may have had, for example, this feeling that receiving help from other people. Eighth house represents like help, like financial help from other people. You may have found like through the last couple of years, you've been largely on your own. Well, by the end of this transit in March, you may actually find that you've kind of streamlined your personal finances, and you're going to find out that finally that karma with other people, it's being loosened up, where you might find that people are starting to become more helpful. Now the transformation's been happening in your third house. You may be transforming like your communication style, even the way even your sibling relationships may have gone through some transformation. If you have a business, third house can represent entrepreneurship. There might have been a lot of changes with your business and how you do that. Definitely by the end of this transit, it's going to be stronger and more durable because of what the testings that Saturn is putting it through. So Cancer, good luck to you on this next 4.5 months. If you are Leo ascendant or Leo moon, this reading is going to be for you. Well, Leo, Saturn's been going through your seventh house of Aquarius. So there's been a focus on marriage partnerships, but also business partnerships and social equity. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Saturn's also aspecting with its eighth house angle aspect, the second house. So there's some changes happening to your second house as well in the duration of this transit, which this transit's going to end in March of 2025. Now let's talk about some of the issues with the seventh house. So if you are in a marriage or you are in a long-term relationship, you may have noticed that there's been a lot of tests. Your partner may have been difficult. There may have been some disagreements on how you're running the relationship and so forth. So by the end of this 4.5 months, the relationship should actually be in a stronger, more peaceful place because of some of the testing that Saturn's been putting it through. Partnerships have demanded a lot of patience and effort, but if you do the due diligence, the relationship will be stronger. So there's a focus on trying to compromise and trying to do your part in every relationship. Now, in terms of social equity, you may have found that, and what I mean by social equity, like for example, in the last few years, you may have felt like you're not getting your fair share of the pie, so to speak. So Saturn has been really working on towards the end of this transit, bringing a sense of fairness or restoring that sense of fairness back into your life. So by the end of this transit, in March 29th of 2025, you should start seeing the light on that. There's a little bit of justice and more equity coming into your life. So this is going to be a very positive, because that victim narrative is going to be starting to kind of go by the wayside. You're going to realize that the universe isn't so bad, that there is justice and things like that. There's been a transformation of your second house, which has to do with your finances, values, and speech. It also has to do with your family of origin. So, for example, there may have been a transformation in your finances, how you save money, how you spend money, a change in your values. You might have changed belief systems over the last couple of years, or changed the way you talk about things, or stories about your life may have changed a lot. So during this transformation, Saturn is really streamlining the second house. So it should be, the beliefs you have should be very solid beliefs. The family of origin should be closer together by the end of this transit. And also the way you save money should be at a better place for the next, when Saturn enters the sign of Pisces in March. So good luck, Leo. Thank you for being here. If you are Virgo ascendant or Virgo moon, this reading is going to be for you. Virgo, Saturn is in the sixth house. So this can be a pretty challenging transit because it's bringing up a lot of difficult karma, for example, conflict and things like that. And the eighth aspect of Saturn is transforming your first house. So let's go talk about that a little bit. So when Saturn's going through your sixth house, you may have noticed that in the last couple of years, you've had to change some of your health routines, your work life balance might be under scrutiny. You may have had to work like a lot of overtime to make ends meet. You may have been struggling with financial issues during this time because of the sixth house and what it represents, debt and things like that. But Saturn's kind of teaching you discipline. Like you work hard, you work that overtime, you put in that extra hours. It really does help. By the end of this transit over the next 4.5 months, you should be in a better place where actually you're going to feel like you're being rewarded finally for your efforts, that there's some good things that are happening for you. You may have also during the last couple of years and then for the next 4.5 months have some difficulty with coworkers or even neighbors. So be on the lookout for that. There could still be some challenges, some final tests here with neighbors or coworkers. Try to keep your cool, but know that, at the end of the 4.5 months, these tests are largely going to be calming down. Now let's talk about the transformation of your first house. You may have had a big change in like your identity, your health, your appearance. Sometimes people go through this transformation of changing their look or changing like, how they appear to others. So this might be something that, by the end of this transit, you're going to be a completely new person. So this is kind of exciting too, to see, how this transit has really changed you. Good luck, Virgo. If you are Libra ascendant or Libra moon, this reading is going to be for you. Libra, Saturn is currently transiting your fifth house, and then it's transforming your 12th house with the eighth angle from itself. Now, the fifth house has to do with creativity, art, romance, children. So it's got a few different meanings for it. So, for example, in the last couple of years during the Saturn transit, you may have been struggling to really find your creativity. You may have suffered from a writer's block. If you're single, you may have had some difficulty trying to find, dating partners and someone to just be in your life. It might have been a lot of tests there. Creative projects, like if you're writing a book, for example, there may have been a lot of times where you've had writer's block. But what Saturn's doing is Saturn's kind of teaching you discipline. As long as you keep writing that book or working on that project every day, just putting some time, eventually it does get done. And eventually you do get through those blocks and you create something very lasting and of value. So also, the other thing I wanted to bring up over the last couple of years is the fifth house can represent luck. The fifth house even represents things like gambling, casinos, things like that. So you may have found like that your luck has not been as fortunate as times in the past. Well, that's going to change. Saturn's not going to be oppressing this fifth house, at the end of the transit, which is going to be March of 2025. So there's just a little bit more time to deal with it. You may have some final tests coming. Now, if you do have children, there may have just been extra care, extra attention, extra resources devoted to children during this time. By the end of this transit in March of 2025, you should feel like maybe you're in a better place as far as like helping your children and so forth. Now, Saturn's been transforming your 12th house, which has to do with your subconscious mind, your spirituality. So, for example, you may have developed a new spiritual routine, new meditation, new hypnosis techniques. These are all kind of things that have to do with the 12th house. And there might be a change in that, and you're at a better place as far as what your spirituality is, and also controlling your expenses as well, because 12th house can represent losses. So Libra, it's just time to huddle down for 4.5 more months, but you should be getting through this and stronger as a result of all this testing. Good luck, Libra. If you are Scorpio ascendant or Scorpio moon, this reading is going to be for you. A Scorpio, Saturn is in your fourth house. So there can be a lot of difficulty with, for example, real estate, housing. If you own a house, there could be a lot of like upkeep and financial cost with that. If you've needed to move, you could have found that there's a lot of obstacles and delays with that. There could have even been some extra care and attention to your mother or mother figures in your life during this time. Also, Saturn is transforming your 11th house. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So there may have been a focus during the last couple of years on your home environment and your sense of emotional security. There's just might have been a lot of frustration with just trying to find peace at home. Anything property related, buying a house, signing a lease for a new apartment has been delayed or just been a real pain over the last couple of years. The good news is that this should be all straightened out over the next 4.5 months. Like if you're working on a house improvements, there should be a feeling of momentum during this next 4.5 months. If you need to move, it should be resolved by the end of this 4.5 months. So just hang in there and you will get to where you want to go. There's a transformation in your 11th house. So there could be a transformation in some of your friendships, your social connections, your long-term goals, and even the way you earn some of your money could have gone through some transformations. And that's going to continue to transform over the next 4.5 months. Thank you for being here, Scorpio, and good luck. If you are Sagittarius ascendant or Sagittarius moon, this reading is going to be for you. Sagittarius, Saturn's been transiting through your third house of communication, of courage, of entrepreneurship, of business, and it's transforming your 10th house. So let's talk about that for a moment. During the last couple of years and also for the next 4.5 months, you may have had some pessimistic thinking because, third house can represent your mind. So you may have been seeing life through a like a glass half empty kind of viewpoint. That's going to change over the next 4.5 months. You're going to start getting a little more optimism. You may have had some difficulty with siblings because it does represent siblings in a birth chart. So if this should be cleared up over the next 4.5 months, or there might be, a few more tests here, but it should be at a better place in 4.5 months here. Now, if you have a business or, you have a way of self-earned wealth, you may face a lot of challenges over the next 2 years, and these should be getting streamlined over the next 4.5 months. There's been a transformation of your 10th house over the last couple of years. So transformation in your career, your public image, your responsibilities. You're going to be at a stronger place because that's been transformed. So it's gone through a lot of testing, and you should be at a better place in terms of like what you want to do for your career, and also your reputation could be vastly improved by the end of this transit in March of 2025. So thank you for being here, Sagittarius, and good luck. If you are Capricorn ascendant or Capricorn moon, this reading is going to be for you. Capricorn, Saturn's going through your second house and it's transforming your ninth house. So both of those houses are being impacted with this transit. The second house, it can represent difficulty with finances. You may have been feeling like it's hard to save money. You've been just kind of like maybe having a lot of losses. You could have been having difficult with dental health, by the way, because second house can rule teeth. And also your family dynamics, your family of origin, there could have been some issues there, like requiring more of your attention. So the good news is over the next 4.5 months, there still may be some challenges with this, but by the end of this 4.5 months, we're kind of in the last phase here. So things are going to start getting cleared up. Things are going to be in a better place by March of 2025 when Saturn moves into the next sign, which is going to be the third house. And we'll talk about that in a future video. Now, the transformation that's happening in your ninth house, there may have been a really big transformation in your beliefs over the last couple of years. The second house represents a storehouse of our values and beliefs, not just finances. So transforming the ninth house is like you're transforming your beliefs or even like religious beliefs that more align with reality and what your experience is. So these are coming more into alignment. So this is actually a very positive thing in the long run, because when you start seeing truth and reality in the way it is, you can start dealing with it in a more practical way. So this is very positive. So hang in there, Capricorn. There's going to be a transformation. Finances should improve by next year, and March of 2025. You should start seeing some slow improvement there. Thank you very much, and good luck, Capricorn. If you are Aquarius ascendant or Aquarius moon, this reading is going to be for you. Aquarius, this Saturn transit has been a big deal because the Saturn transit been in Aquarius, so it's in your first house. So there's been a big change in like your identity. You may have had a lot of crisis here. Sometimes when Saturn's going through the first house, it can represent a career crisis. It could represent focus on changing your health. But there's definitely this idea of transforming who you are, your identity, and things like that. So there's definitely been this theme of complete transformation over the last 2 years. So by March of 2025, you're going to be a completely new person through all of these tests and all of these challenges you've went through. And you should be in a better place if you've learned the lessons that Saturn is trying to put you through. Now, the first house, you may have felt more isolated during this time, but you should start feeling that improved by March of 2025. You're going to feel like you're getting a little more recognition and start advancing again. Because when Saturn's going through your first house, it can sometimes represent like social judgment and things like that. So that's going to be cleared up over the next few months. Saturn's been transforming your eighth house, which is interesting because this is the eighth aspect to the eighth house. So, for example, you may have been very interested in the occult, in astrology, tarot card readings, just finding out about the mysteries of life. And so you're gaining a lot of new understanding with those kind of things. So there could have been a lot of healing taking place too, because the eighth house can represent healing, like doing shadow work. So you're going to definitely come out of this the other side in March of 2025, a more healed, updated type of person. So good luck, Aquarius, over the next 4.5 months. You're almost through it. So take care of yourself and good luck. If you are Pisces ascendant or Pisces moon, this reading is going to be for you. Pisces, Saturn's been going through your 12th house of Aquarius, and it's transforming the 7th house. So both of those houses have been impacted since January of 2023, and you're in the last 4.5 months, okay? Because Saturn's going direct now. So the 12th house has to do with spirituality, isolation. You may have been feeling some sort of isolation over the last couple of years. You might have felt like you're kind of in this deep freeze. And that's going to be changing over the next 4.5 months. Okay, so you may have, for example, some sort of changes take place in either your relationship status or career that bring more public visibility to you by the end of this transit in the next 4.5 months. So this sense of isolation should be ending shortly. You may have also been kind of having a spiritual battle you've been facing over the last 2 years, and this is going to be coming to a resolution over the next 4.5 months. There could have been a lot of losses, and that's about, you may have a few more tests with those, but that's about to settle down in the next 4 months. Take this time over the next 4.5 months to like get what Saturn's trying to get you to do is to rest and retreat a little bit. So make sure you're trying to do that as best you can. Try to get some of that retreat because life is going to be picking up a lot more by the end of this transit in March of 2025. Now, the transformation's been happening in your seventh house. So, for example, you may have had a transformation in your marriage, business partnerships, also transformation in your social equity, like as far as contracts go. This might have been a time where you're really trying to get a better deal for your life. So seventh house is all about getting a deal. So the old deal might have not been good. So by the end of this transit, there should be a better contract or a better deal that's presented to you. So this is quite exciting, Pisces. You should be in a better place by the end of this transit. Thank you so much for being here, and good luck on the rest of this transit. All right. So we were able to get through all of those 12 signs and really briefly talk about how this Saturn direct is going to be influencing. So the reason why we went through is just so you can kind of focus in on these final lessons of the last 4.5 months of this transit, because Saturn's really trying to teach us all something. And so we're going through the final testing phase. It's almost like we're going through our Saturn final exam here in the next 4.5 months. But by the end of the transit, if we've taken Saturn's lessons to heart, we should be in a better place in whatever houses Saturn's impacting, because Saturn, even though it does represent heavy karma, the goal is to transform your understanding. The goal is to streamline things, to make things smoother. So hopefully we all can keep that in mind as we go through these last final exams during the Saturn transit. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down below. And if you want to, tell us all how this last couple of years has been going for you in your Saturn transit. So thank you so much for watching and take care. I'll see you all in the next video.